What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast, episode 25.
25, yeah. Yep.
Any great athletes with the number 25 off the top of your head?
Man, 25? I can't think of anybody with a number 25.
What was that boy down in Dallas for the Mavericks, 25? When he's like a Jackson or something?
Like Jimmy Jackson?
Jimmy Jackson, the Jimmy Jackson episode.
Jimmy
baby.
Jackson. He said the Jimmy Jackson. Hey, no, real talk. That was an ill backcourt. Jason Kidd, Jimmy Jackson, Jamal Mashburn.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that was a nice little squad. That was a nice little squad back then. It's not a nice little squad back then. Real talk. Quiet as kept.
Quiet as kept. Fun little squad to get on NBA Jam. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, don't take me back to the NBA Jam days.
Hey, man, I got to. I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy that arcade game, man, for the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of time. I'm gonna give me a house. Give me a whole collection for the house, man. Arcade games. But I'm sorry,
a whole
man,
collection.
Track. Let me
Michael Jackson moonwalk.
My name is Jared. This is Denzel, my co-host, and we host the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. And we smoke cigars. We tell you about the cigars we're smoking. Then we talk a bunch of other stuff along the way, if you're new. But that being
everything
said,
else in between.
Yep, everything in between. Now I'm gonna talk about the stars of the show, because we're just here on behalf of them. We smoking. For me personally, I'm gonna be smoking a Liga Privada T52, one of Denzel's favorites.
Oh man, he put out the Liga on me.
Yep, by Drew Estate. Now I figure that's not a whole lot for me to say, because most people that check us out, Denzel spoke highly of it. I believe you smoked this on the show before, so I'm not going to get into all the tobacco and everything else. And another reason I'm not going to, because I didn't do my research. I figured everybody knows about it. So,
hey, and it's one of those hard to find cigars right now. Yeah. Very sought after. Very, very sought after. Hey man, they got this H99 that's out there that's supposed to be top tier. Hard to find. Very, very hard to find.
Who is that by?
It's a Liga. See how you have the number 9, the T52, H99. That's supposed to be the new one. That's supposed to be the new one. So I'm on a hunt to try to find that one. Once I find that one, it's on. I'm gonna smoke that one on the show and give it a go. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned it, because now I know what I need to look out for also.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled for it. It's hard to find, hard to come by. So if you find it in your humidor, go ahead and grab it.
Most definitely.
All right. Well, I'm
smoking with us today. What's the start of the show you ever have?
I was about to start a light mine. I didn't even tell you what I was smoking, but we're gonna go with the Garcia family. I felt like my father's today, but then I didn't feel like my father's today, so I went in the family series, the family line. So a Don Pepin series, J. All right, so
definitely. And you didn't have two options. You know to come with two options and stuff, man.
Well, I did. But I left it in my case. I just came back from being out in the field, doing my day job, and I had some cigars in the case. So I didn't really go through my case. I just, whatever came out. The Don Pepin came out. I was like, you know what? You can go with that. I kind of felt like on my Father's Day anyway. A Garcia type of cigar. So I just rolled with it.
Okay, most definitely.
Fresh out my cigar case. My travel case. I went with a straight cut. Straight cut today. I've been proud of myself because lately I've been going with the punch. I've been punching lately, but just went ahead and grabbed that straight cut so we can get the job done and get it going and get to it.
I dig it.
I've been looking forward to a good smoke for a whole week now, so I'm ready to sit down and enjoy this one.
Well, I got both a straight cut and a punch, but I think I'm gonna go with the punch just out of simplicity.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
I can just push in, come out, be done. I ain't got to worry about having the perfect clip or going too far back on it or nothing like that.
Right. You know, those are kind of like the perks of the V cut and the punch. The punch, less room for error. V cut, you got room for error. You can kind of, you know, shave the ends a little bit where you kind of got some shedding going on, but at least your depth would be good. Like you can't go but so far with a V cut.
Right.
So if you ever want to play it safe, those are your two safe options.
Yep. I figured I'd go safe. Ain't nothing safer than a punch.
All right. For those listening to us,
cigar.
If you hear me coughing or if I sound a little congested today, came down with that COVID.
Woo.
Came down with that COVID again. You know, it's now it seems like one of those routine things. I didn't get too shook by it this time. The first time we had it, first time I had it, rather. I don't know how you felt the first time you had it. It was a little shocking to the system. You know, didn't really know what to think. You know, really know how to take it. Now it's like the common cold.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it seems like it's coming off of. I mean, still people are still perishing from it, so you still got to be careful. But it's just the way we look at it now is not as, you know, as fearful as it used to be. This time I caught it, I'm like, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. We can still truck through. We still make it through. I'm gonna have all my precautions and stuff like that. Make sure I'm not getting around anybody, trying to get anybody infected or anything like that. But I can still go about my life. I still been functioning as normal almost. Still getting up, still getting my runs in. You know, yesterday I just did a 4-mile run. Still feel fine. You know, and I'm enjoying my cigar today.
See, that boy smoking cigars now with the 19. Boy, it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
You said when I first had it, see, I only had it one time, and I had it maybe 2 months ago, February. I had it. Mm-hmm. We're in May at the time of this recording here, and I got it in February of 2022. So with that being said, people, we was kind of everybody's comfortable with it. By the time I got it, I had seen so many people not care no more that I didn't care. So for me, it was no fear whatsoever by the time I got it. But like you said, you know, we're a long ways from 2020 when it first blew up, you know, and we were all, it was a death sentence when you first thought about it in 2020.
You first thought about it, yeah.
You go run and smoke a cigar afterwards and stuff now, so it's different.
Yeah, and playing with fire too. We talked about on the last episode how I have asthma too, and it's like you would think. You would think.
Well, you know, it goes back to that invincibility thing we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you just
I'll be all right.
4 miles with it, you're better off than the average person. So you should be fine.
Right. Better off than the average person who just hasn't sits down and smoke a cigar. At least I work something up. I would hope anyway that I kind of guarded myself a little bit by doing that.
Yeah. And built a little tougher than the average person. That would have cost.
So I haven't lost my sense of taste. So, you know, I think I can judge my cigar pretty fairly today.
We're going to see. I didn't even consider that factor. Hey, so
I didn't either.
He says about your cigar, Don Pepin. Don't worry about it. You know, the Garcia family, y'all chill, man. You know, give him a pass. He could be tripping today. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, it didn't dawn on me until I started taking my first puffs, and I was like, oh, okay, nice taste. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? That's something I need to consider. Can I taste normal?
That's the flip side to it. You could insult them and it'd be unjust, but you could compliment them and it could be unjust also.
Unjust as well, yeah. So, you're right.
It could be some heavy leather and pepper picking up that's just tame to you.
Could be missing, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, but it's over the top for somebody else. So, you know, y'all take it y'all tune in for the conversation and not into the show review as much.
I'm still going to rate the cigar because, hey, look, somebody else might have COVID, might lost their taste a little bit, they might want to smoke a Don Pepin, and we're gonna call it COVID certified.
Mm-hmm. You got coronavirus, smoke this cigar. It's gonna be the best. You know what I'm saying? You never know. We might push something new for the brand, y'all. Hey man, Garcia family, reach out to us, man, for the plug, man. Go ahead, we'll promote it. It's a new Corona stick.
I don't know if they want that stigma though. But hey, look, if it go, it go.
Hey, whatever helps sell a few extra sticks. We down for the endorsement deal.
But man, tell me about that.
Opening thoughts on this while we on the subject of that.
Well, no, I was going to ask you about yours. How's that Liga coming off the top, off the first light?
It's real smooth, man. It's like I want to use the word got a boldness about it, but it's still in a very smooth way. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I kind of been clowning with you a little bit, so I wasn't paying a lot of attention to notice if I taste anything or picked up on anything taste wise. That was just my initial thought. Like this has a just boldness to it, man. But it's
gonna have some boldness to it. Yeah,
still smooth.
But the smooth ride, yeah, that's what we talked about before. Like it's gonna have some pep in its step, but the way it gets you there with a luxury palate. Like it just guides you there the right way.
Yeah, very very manageable. You know what I'm saying? This is a smooth ride, like you say, luxury car. You know what I mean? It's like what I would imagine like a Maybach truck to feel like on the road. You know what I mean?
There you go.
You in a still vehicle, but it's still
luxury.
That's right.
Yeah, but as far as me, the Don Pepin is doing what I'm expecting to do. Have a little pepper off the top, but smooth pepper. Kind of coupling with a little bit of cedar. So I got some pepper and some cedar like right off the top, which it seems like it's kind of coming together a little bit and kind of making a good introduction to the cigar.
Right. Most definitely.
And I usually don't get cedar by itself a lot off the top. I usually get that going into like that second, third. But coming off the top, getting cedar without using the cedar stick, it's almost like having a cedar stick lit with your cigar without having a cedar stick.
I wouldn't be mad at that though. I like that. I like the thought of that. Cause the cedar stick is smooth to me. I like that little taste in the beginning for me when I use it. So.
Yeah, then that's what I'm getting off the top with this one. It's some cedar off the top, mixed with a little bit of pepper, which kind of dials back that pepper. So it gives me that cedar stick feel without actually using the cedar stick. I think it's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I like that. I like the sound of that. So, brother, what you reached out to me the other day. What was this? I believe yesterday. You told me the word of the day.
Yesterday. Yeah. Okay.
Now.
Okay.
So we're still within 24 hours of that, even though it's a new day. So we're gonna say the word of the day is rapport.
Still rapport. Now,
okay. Let's unpack why rapport is important. And the word.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and explain my word of the day first. I have this thing, and you guys should know us by now. We love music. We love to do music. We love to make music. And I have this thing where I love words. You know, being somebody who does lyrics and puts lyrics together, I just have this joy with words. Words intrigue me. So I've been doing this thing daily where a word just comes to my head, pops in my head, based on certain circumstances throughout my day or week, and I'll reflect on something, and I'll come up with a word that just hit me. And I'll kind of challenge myself to actually pay attention to my day and to pay attention to my life and come up with a word. And the word that came to me yesterday was rapport. And it was important to me in that moment because I had to go handle some business that somebody else couldn't handle because they set up a situation to where they couldn't handle that situation because they had a bad rapport.
Okay.
But I was able to walk into the situation and I was able to get the job done and get the thing accomplished because I had a good rapport. It's like almost a night and day treatment between what this person, how they were being treated by these individuals versus how I was being treated with these individuals. Hostility on one end and welcoming on the other end. Pushback on one end, overpouring of willingness to do whatever it is that I needed on the other end. And it's like, wow, in order to get by in life and in order to do certain things or have certain doors open for you to be able to step in certain rooms, rapport is important. Like, hey, you have to have a good rapport with people, with circumstances, with situations to be able to get into certain doors that you need to get into, where other people might block those doors off or they might feel like they have to knock those doors down. But your rapport allows you to be able to exercise certain things that other people might not be able to because you have a good rapport.
Right. So at what age do you believe people realize that, the importance of that? Because obviously it's something you begin building early in life, but when do you think people really figure that out?
You know what? Honestly, truly, the earlier the better, of course. But I would say maybe into your 30s. You might not get it in your 20s. You might not get it in your teens, only because depending on your upbringing, depending on your environment, early on when you're younger, you have a little bit more aggression. You have a little bit more gumption as far as like saying, I can knock down these doors by myself. I can knock down these doors and these barriers just because I am whatever. You feel invincible. You feel like you can just run through brick walls early on. And you don't understand a level of tact that you have to have. I feel like I learned that early, honestly. But I don't think as a mass, a lot of people learn that early on. I think as you mature and get into like maybe your mid 30s or so, you finally start to see enough to say, okay, how do I protect myself as an asset? I need people in place to be able to boost myself on their shoulders, boost myself on somebody else's um what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody else's credentials in order to get me through certain doors. You have to. We always wanted to do it ourselves early and like, I got this, I can handle this. My credentials should be good enough. When you learn at some point, no, it takes other people to help you get to where you need to get to. And you can still use your abilities, but you still have to be put in position. Your abilities are no good if you're not put in a position to be able to use your abilities.
Right. Hey man, I think as I sit here and think about what you say, I think I grasp the idea of the concept of the importance of rapport early on. I understood it, but I don't think I understood that I needed to, me personally, as a person, needed to apply it until probably somewhere in my 30s, if I'm being honest with myself.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that was when you talk about having gumption and believing you could knock a wall down by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of that for me was that, just self-belief was, I don't want to say unrealistic, you know what I'm saying?
But it's just at a high. It's just at your self-belief, which is cool. It's okay. A lot of times we're taught that early on anyway. You can do anything. You can do this. You got this. You are. You know what I'm saying? Our parents instilled in us early. A coach instilled in us early. A teacher maybe. At some point in our lives, hopefully somebody's giving that to you. A brother, a aunt, a sister, or somebody poured into you and said, you are capable, you can do, to get us in that mindset state of I can. Yeah, no, I can. But then we have to understand that I can only becomes most effective when you couple it with a few other things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we miss that part.
Step back and realize to myself, that ain't, yes, you can do a whole lot. And your self-belief, like you said, is a good thing, but I had to step back and realize what game I'm in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the game of life isn't set up for that. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
not.
It ain't set
You
up
know
for
what?
you to be a lone ranger and go just win the game by yourself. Like,
I got it. Give me the ball. I got it.
yeah.
You need a team. You need role players. You know, and you look at it, it's like having good credit. You know, it's like good credit. Good credit. You can have all the money in the world, which is fine. Cash is king is what they say. But at the same time, you're going to need good credit. You're going to have a good history, a good rapport with how you handle debt.
Right.
You know, that's your rapport. And what is that going to do? That's going to open up some doors for you. Like early on, we had this discussion before years ago, how much I cared less about credit. You know, I cared less about making sure I had a high credit score. I'm like, nah, let me just stack as much cash as possible. Cash, put money in the safe. But me stacking cash isn't speaking to my rapport.
Right.
Okay, yeah, you got all the cash, but what about your track record?
Yeah.
What about your...
The cash is you as an individual.
That's me as an individual.
With these institutions. Like,
Exactly. So that's how I look at it, you know? And it's just, you have to have a good credit score in your worldly society function environment in order to walk yourself through into closed doors.
Right.
You know, so that was my word.
It's very important, man. And people always be like, well, what would you say to your younger self if you could go back and talk to him and stuff like that? And I would have to go look that joker in his face and be like, hey, man, stop spending so much time hating all these people and go make a connection. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go make a connection. Yes, they suck. I can see they suck, younger me, but go become close with them, man. And one of them might open a door for you or put you on to somebody that's gonna open a door for you. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get you. I get you on that. I mean, that's how we came up, though, man. Like, we came up as knowing you, knowing myself in our teens and early 20s. You know what I'm saying? We were, like you said, those Lone Ranger type of people. Like, we were, get these people out my way.
Mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Very 90s mentality.
Get into your crew, stay with your crew, and you know what I'm saying, us against them, like mentality.
Yeah, very, very, very close group. Very close group.
Yeah.
You know, and really did not deter from that much at all. Like, I'm thinking about my early 20s, man. If it wasn't but a certain amount of people, I wasn't really, I'm kind of still that way now. Only difference is how close I get to certain individuals. You know, I'll let people into my circle for different purposes. Like we talk about friendships and having a friend, an associate, a business partner, or whatever. I categorize it differently now, as I didn't before. So before it was, okay, you're a friend or you're a music associate, maybe. That was about it. That was like my only two categories I really had.
Right.
Either you're somebody I'm doing music with, and usually those people were my friends. And that was it, which were two small groups, really. Now I'm open more across the board. I have more reach as far as individuals that I am grouped with, but I separate them differently now. You know, so I'm more open to acceptance of people and building rapport with different people. But then I have different categories for it. So it's more people now. Friend groups are still small. Associate groups are still small. But then how a couple of people that I built great rapport with throughout the years, I still keep them aligned with me, but they're just categorized differently. Instead of saying you're in the circle, you're out of the circle, I just have a lot of different circles now.
Yeah, you open up your circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same place, you know what I'm saying, as you. Like I'm still the same in the sense where my circles remain small, but I'm more open than I ever have been.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I might not be going out there. The person is gonna go out there and network, go to a restaurant and talk to everybody at every table. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
When opportunities present themselves, I'm open to them more so than ever. You know, I don't spend my time hating people as much. You know what I'm saying? Just for breathing. like I'm beyond that. I understand the importance of it, and you know, I'm more understanding that people gonna be who they are. You know what I'm saying? And you can appreciate them for who they are without having to, you know, be upset or feel like I'm not like you. We're not from the same cloth, so I'm not gonna deal with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a very narrow mind. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have that mindset anymore when it comes to interacting with people. I don't have to sit back on the outside and size the person up and be like, nah, that ain't how you moving, ain't for me. I ain't gonna deal with you at all. I can still do that to an extent, but there's also aspects of what a person can bring to the table that I can also interact with, even if I like 8 other things about you. Maybe it's 2 that I
can, 2 things that you can take from.
Yeah, and I'll enjoy it. You know what I'm saying, for what it's worth now versus then.
Yeah. Before, like, okay, you had to hit 5 out of 5 criteria, and then you're in my circle. Now you can hit 1, and I can just compartmentalize that one thing.
Yeah.
Negate the other 4.
You belong in.
Yeah, put you in the circle you belong in. It's fine. It's fine. And that's the difference between then and now. For me, and like you said, for yourself as well. It's like, it's just the fact that I can look at somebody instead of just writing somebody off completely, you know, and then having a bad rapport with them. Okay, no, I'm still going to build this good rapport. I might not need you in your totality, but whenever I have this run-in with you, a conversation with you, an interaction with you, it's a good interaction because I can appreciate certain aspects of you. I might not agree with everything you do, everything you say, but I can still have a certain level of respect and be able to put you into whatever circle it is that you fall into.
Right.
You know.
So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. You know, when we were younger, we looked at people that were like trying to be friendly to everybody is kind of like, well, let me not say we. I looked at it as a certain degree of phoniness behind people who did that a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way you like.
Okay, let me
seem like you just want to be liked. You know.
Let me get you to ask that question one more time. You cut out a little bit. The feed cut out just a second. I think I missed a small but important piece of what you might have started asking.
No, I was saying, so in the past, I looked at people who were able to have relationships with everybody, and I kind of looked at them as people who were like kissing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. So there was a little bit of phoniness to it to me in my eyes when somebody was like just too friendly to everybody. It's like, why you want to be liked so much? You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have a respect for that personally, because I felt like you have to give up a piece of who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Connect with everybody. And now I don't look at it that way anymore. I'm still not that guy that's going to be that way, but I don't have no judgment for it, the people that are that way.
Well,
I think that what I said or how I used to view it is what it is, or do you think it's just people who already knew to put people in certain boxes and just leave them there? And they had that figured out from an early age.
That's not easy. That's not an easy answer. That's not an easy answer to me. I feel like you have to break that down just a little bit more, and not you necessarily break that down a little bit more, but the individual that you're assessing has to be broke down a little bit more. And I think there's 2 ways you can look at it. To me, it depends on how deeply invested you are into these different groups and different people that you try to sway with. And how much are you keeping your true authenticity of yourself whenever you go into these different groups? I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, military buddy of mine, and speaking about being one way. And if my one way, if I'm the same way with you and the same way with another person, like if I'm still the core of who I am, if I'm still being me when I'm in different circles, that's what tells me whether it's somebody who's understanding, okay, I just need to have a good rapport. I'm just taking certain things from them, but do I change when I'm in different circles? Now that's the phoniness, if you ask me. If I'm a certain way with this group, but then you see me over here with this group and now I'm completely 180, or you see me with another group and I'm this way over here, like, whoa, hold on. Like, so who are you? Are you all of these things? But you're just not that when you're around me or whatever.
That's a
To me,
possibility also.
it is a possibility. It is a possibility. Like, because you can have different facets of you and you decide to display them with different groups you're in.
True.
But if it's, and that's only valid if it's truly who you are. Now, some people act a certain way. It's not truly them, but they act a certain way around this group. They get around another group, they act a certain way around that group.
Right.
It's not truly them, but they're just looking to want to fit in. Now, could it be for the sake of trying to build a good rapport? Or are you authentically who you are at your core? Just who you are is good enough to build a good rapport. And what I like to try to hang my hat on is just me being me, regardless of whatever circle I'm in, is going to be enough to build a good rapport with anybody I walk into a room with. I shouldn't have to switch modes and be this or that when I walk into this room or walk into that room or walk into this room. I should still be at least 95%, because we're all going to change depending on what room we're in. I'm not going to be 100% the same way I am with my father and my mother that I am going to be with just my brothers by themselves, or with you, or with somebody at work. I'm going to have a little bit that's going to be, what I'm saying, swayed a little bit. But how much percentage of it, of you is still in the core of every interaction you have? And I try to keep that percentage as high as possible.
Now, I agree with that. There's definitely going to be a core person. Now, you keep interrupting the show. I know y'all hear this. I'm not going to cut it out. This person, somebody in my neighborhood, they vehicle keeps
let the horn off.
Yeah, alarm. But no, with that being said though, man, I think that we all have a core of what the base of our personality is. You know what I mean? Like there's certain personality that's the majority of who you are, and then you have these other facets of your personality that can shine through.
Yeah.
And you might let's say for instance, you might be able to be like a nerd out on comic books or something like that. But that might not be entirely who you are. You may be entirely more this, and then you get around with your comic book friends and you nerd out.
And then that
sport and athlete friends is like, hey man, I didn't know you was into that. You know what I mean? But even then, you're gonna still be who you are, like your personality. If you're aggressive, you probably still gonna be aggressive with your comic book.
Be aggressive.
With your sports friends. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that won't change. And that's just outside of course, how you talk and tone of your voice and stuff like that.
But But I mean that's all of how I look at it. Just saying, like, you can't look at the surface. It's just you have to go deeper into the individual's interactions with different core groups that they're with to really take a judgment on that. Well, not necessarily a judgment, but a fair assessment of it.
All right. Yeah, I think that's something also that people figure out as they get a little older. They become more comfortable in their own shoes. And
yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. And it's like, fortunate for me, I feel like I took that on early. You might have a different assessment of this, but me personally, I felt like
took that on early. I don't see that.
It's like I'm gonna be.
Personalities were already how it was. That forced us to be like, if you're gonna make it to the circle, you're gonna make it through knowing me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'm not gonna be anything different.
A need to want to, like in high school and stuff, people had that need to want to fit in, and because we always had a not fit in personality, it allowed us to kind of early on make people
be like, whatever.
I'm gonna adapt to what I am. I'm not gonna adapt.
Yeah. That was me. I made that decision early, like as far as like maybe middle school, maybe even elementary school, to where, you know, I didn't feel the need to fit in. And I always felt like I was okay or cool with so many different groups of people. Like I feel like I'm one of those people who I'm not completely adored by any one group, but I'm good with all groups. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in heavy with any one core group, but I feel like I can walk into any room and sit with these people, or walk into that room and sit with those people. All right, I had enough of y'all. I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go over here with this group and sit with them for a little bit. I had enough of y'all. Like I never felt embedded in one particular, you know, social group.
Right.
And it's just one, I guess for me is saying I'm gonna keep the core of who I am. And early on, as kids, teenagers, early 20s, I feel like sometimes when people get so deeply embedded in certain groups, they give up a piece of themselves for the sake of being in that one particular circle, that one particular social settings, one particular social group. And then you kind of lose who you are. And that was always important to me.
Yeah, I agree. That makes a lot of sense, man. I always kind of viewed myself as like a variety bag of chips. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like I may not be like great at one thing, but I'm like kind of good at everything, which allows me to fit in with multiple groups. Like in high school, I was the person during the hallway when people would walk in the halls and they was posted up in their little groups on the lockers. I would just pass through and post up at random groups. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Same.
I relate to all y'all. So I would go hang with some of the athletes and the jocks for a little bit. Then another break, I might be over there in the little thug part of the locker room. And another group, I go hang with the nerds because I had advanced classes with them. Like, you know,
right? Same.
I could fit in with all of them. Like, and it was.
Or for me, I go off by myself.
All the groups would be like, "Hey man, come through here," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm pushing. I'm keep pushing. I'm going down here."
Like, yeah. Or I'll go off and be by myself, and then whoever comes over to me, and it could be a mix. And then that's one thing that was used to be interesting to me is when I spent like in high school, when I go off and I have my moments where I just want to be by myself, and then you'll see different people from different groups will come over to where I'm at, and now I have this mixture of people because, like I said, I was cool with mostly everybody. You know, I was never, like I said, deeply embedded with anybody, but I was good with most people. So I might have two people from this group come over here and who would never necessarily hang with each other, but a common core would be myself, because sometimes I'd separate myself and I'd be off by myself in my little area, and I'm just go over here today because I don't feel like whatever. And then whoever decides to come over there with me, they come over there with me, and it could be people from different groups who would never necessarily mix together.
Most definitely. Yeah, and I think that's I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like that, and like you said, something that was important is when you dedicate yourself totally to one group, you lose a part of yourself because parts that don't fit into that group, you're no longer
you're suppressing it. Yeah, you're suppressing it. You're like, well, what they don't think I'm cool anymore because I like anime or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily talk about your anime that you love, or you kind of forget about it, or you put it to the side or something.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And far too often that's you're shortening yourself on what your ability to have that rapport with other people. You know what I'm saying? To bring it back to that word, you know what I'm saying? You're shortening yourself an opportunity to build a connection in a whole nother group, because that group could end up being the one to take you somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Open a door for you.
You never know what group's gonna be the group. You know, what the people or person or thing or interest is gonna take you to the next level. So my whole idea is to stay open to everybody and anybody I can, you know, as long as it's a positive thing.
Most definitely. Yep.
But yeah,
all of those.
But word of the day, Rapport. But let me get to the cigar real quick. Switch modes just for a second. I'm getting some leather, and I always like to try to. I've been doing it since Gurkha. Since the Gurkha episode, I've been paying close attention to the leather.
Okay.
And wanted to see how well different cigars handle leather. We talked about how Cohiba does it. Cohiba handles leather top notch.
Yeah.
Gurkha not so much. Right. Don Pepin. I don't know if it's the COVID, but the leather's coming off a little strong in this first third. It's coming off a little strong. So just a quick update. Finishing the first third, getting ready to hit the second third, and maybe it's just the introduction of the leather going into the next third. Maybe it'll kind of dial back. Give you my quick play-by-play on this Don Pepin. But that's been interest of mine lately. Like as far as the leather, seeing how well different cigars handle that leather, because it's tricky. It's tricky.
It is.
But I'm getting some leather. The cedar's kind of dialed down. The pepper's kind of dialed down, and I'm getting mostly leather now. So I'm interested in seeing how this thing is going to go into the second, third.
Well, this T52 it handles the leather that it has in it very well. You know what I'm saying? It's it's there, but it's subtle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it blends with everything else that's going on in it so much that you gotta pay attention to catch that there's leather to it. You know what I'm saying? But the leather is there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's got an interesting like leather mixed with a citrusy, maybe like an orange zest or something type of thing going on with it. And like some woody, earthy notes. You know what I'm saying? And it's all just like somebody just balled it up in a little ball of clay and mixed it up. Really, you know what I mean? And it's like that's what I'm kind of at this point in the cigar for me.
Okay.
But
that's an interesting mix. I don't think I've ever picked it up with the Liga, but that's interesting.
If I wasn't really trying to pick up on something to say about the cigar, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's Liga for you. Like I haven't necessarily picked that up from the Liga before. You get much pepper off of it?
Little pepper.
Little pepper, but like you said, packaged well, right?
Packaged well. The pepper's packaged well, but it's pepper in there too. I left that out. But yeah, that's in there.
Yeah. Hey, but the switch notes again. I gotta ask you about this. I want to revisit something real quick. We got to spend too much time on it, but I have to ask you. We talked about NBA players' legacies and where they rank on the top 75 list or whatever that we kind of revisited. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Steph Curry.
Right.
Now that Steph Curry is going back to his 6 finals in 8 years.
That's about right.
And a chance to win his 4 out of 6. Now, where do you put Steph Curry, like in your mind's eye? When you told me he has to do a little bit more, his story's not done being written. Granted, still not done being written, but he has added a lot to this new chapter. Is he now becoming a standard?
You said becoming a standard? What do you mean by becoming a standard?
Like, is he the guy? Is he the guy? Like, can you put him solid in the top 10, top 5 talk? Especially if he wins. Now, we're speaking a little bit hyperbole now.
Top 5 of all time?
Arguably.
Well, I believe if I remember correctly, I was unwilling to commit to putting him in the top 30s where we was at before, right? That was my initial stance on that.
I think so. I can't necessarily remember.
I think that's what the argument was. I said he has too much story left for me to commit to putting him somewhere in the top 30.
But with this new chapter, where do you think he's done enough now? without even winning the championship,
without winning the chip.
has he done enough to prove himself now? Because mind you, LeBron has 4.
You know what I mean? Like, and yes, Bron. My argument before was Bron is the only one that's shown me enough for me to be like, hey, man. Regardless,
yeah, Bron has 4,
retired,
but 10 appearances.
Say what now?
I said, yeah, but Bron, he has 10 appearances. It's been 10 times, right?
I think that's the number. It's been a lot,
and he's gotten 4.
Hey, but Bron had a 19-year career at the time I was making the comment. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't really nothing left for him to do. Like, he could have retired 3-4 years ago, and his legacy was written.
Right.
Just didn't look at Steph as like he can retire and it's done. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think he's getting up there in age. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong.
I don't know. I think 13 years in the league.
That's
6 finals.
Jordan did, ain't it? Was 13, something like that. So I mean,
15, I think, right? 15 total.
Yeah, it might be that once you include the years I like to forget.
The Wizards.
Washington years. I think it is about 15, like 13 Bulls or something like that.
Yeah.
When he come in, no, matter of fact, when he came in the league in 84, 85?
I want to say 84. I want to say 84.
And then he left out 98. So yeah, 13, 14 years there, and then 2 with them. So yeah, about 15, 16 maybe.
But Steph could retire after this season, and he's already gotten 3 done in 6 appearances if he didn't win the chip this year. Now, if he does, you got 4 rings and 6 appearances in 13 years. That's doing a lot in 13 years.
Yeah, it's doing a lot, man. I'll
on top
with this appearance, I'll commit to putting him in the top 30 of all time. I'm still not ready to talk about top 5. I don't look at Steph that way, but and if he gets the ring, if he wins this year, I'll even go to
top 25.
No, I'll go lower than that. If he gets the chip this year, we can discuss him in the top 15 of all time.
If he gets the chip.
If he gets the chip. And but with this appearance, I'm willing to say, yeah, he's solidified as a top 30, even if he don't get the win. But if he gets the win, we can talk about putting him in the top 15. But that's still a hard place to get, though, man. You know, to actually be the guy. Because to be in the top 15, I mean, just right off the top of my head, you got to look at Kareem, you got to look at Chamberlain, you got to look at my man,
which all
Russell. You got to look at Russell. I mean, there's a
which is
guys without even
So when I say the guy, you have to think that all those people that you might name in the top 15 at some point they were the guy.
Yeah,
Kareem was the guy. Wilt was the guy. Jordan was the guy. Kobe was the guy. Shaq was the guy.
Yeah.
So in this era, is Steph the guy? Even amongst LeBron.
What years are you saying is Steph the guy? Because
the 2010s to the early 2020s.
10s to the 20s. Man, I don't want to give him bronze years, man. Some of them is bronze years, man. And I'm not a bronze guy at all, but the truth is, man, some of them years is his. Look, the 10s was Kobe's. Now Kobe's run.
No, I would say
2011, 2012. No, LeBron really took over.
Yeah, I wouldn't give Kobe the 2010s. I would give Kobe the 2000s.
He didn't he get a chip in 10?
I want to say 09. Or was that Boston's year in 09?
Something like that. I want to say Kobe was still the man to about 10 or 11, and then I'll say
okay,
was undoubtedly the man from that time.
Kobe got chips in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2009, and 2010. His last chip was in 2010.
There you go. He had to be the man in 10 then, and then it was still his league in 10 if he got a chip during that year.
No, in 10, but in the teens, 11, 12, up.
Yeah, the teens is all Bron.
That was Bron, but I would say
11 or 12.
But how long did that last? That lasted until about 14. Then it became Steph's, if you ask me.
You say Bron had a 4-year run?
A good 4-year run.
As the man of the league?
As the guy. And then it became Steph's.
Well, how
he changed the game
against Michael Jordan? If you trying to say he had a 4-year run.
He had a 4-year run because the 10s was Kobe and Tim Duncan. When Steph Curry and Golden State won their first championship, the tide started to shift from LeBron to Steph, because that's when Steph started. From 2014 to 2022, 8 years, 6 times going to the finals.
Man, see, I don't want
to. From 14 to 22.
I don't even want to say Steph was a part of the argument in at least about 16.
He couldn't be. I mean,
he argue he had a argument at being the man in the league.
Well, he could at that time
2 or 3 years in there that we didn't know if it was KD or Bron.
Bron, right? But I mean, you couldn't put Steph in that then because he was his run was just getting started. 2016, he was just made in his second finals, so his run was just going. But now 8 years removed from his first finals.
I mean, I can't argue with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't argue with it, but I have a hard time not relinquishing it and being like, hey, man, and saying Bron was the best player in the league.
No, he was
18, 19. He was at least the best player of the league. It's how I feel. I could be wrong, and it could easily be Steph. But
it was still arguably an argument between Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron. LeBron wasn't. I would say over the last 4 years, it's been tough for LeBron.
It is, but I look at him like
2010 to 2014. That's when you can definitively point at LeBron and say you were the guy.
I mean, the Claw even had an argument in there for about 1 or 2 of them years.
2 years, yeah. He did.
And I mean, Giannis is becoming a big part of the conversation now. Who the man is in the league? I don't know, man. It could be Steph. I mean, right now, it could be Steph's league. You know what I'm saying? It could be. It could be his league. I'm just saying. Giving it to Bron. What Bron? They got a chip in 20, right?
Yeah, but I don't really count that shit, man.
That chip was funny. He got it. But it was funny.
It was the you know what I'm saying, the quarantine chip.
The quarantine chip. I mean, you looked at the Warriors. They dealt with some injuries and stuff like that. Man, it was just funky around that time.
Yeah, Clay went down. Durant went down. You know what I'm saying? And then it was the quarantine years. That was the quarantine chip. I have a hard time giving LeBron that accolade for that year without an asterisk. You got to put an asterisk on it. So you got to put an asterisk on it.
Let me get this right. You said about what year was it? You said Bron's run is definitive ended. You said
2010 to 2014.
14.
I'm comfortable with you might be able to argue to 16 only because he did make it to the finals, and then I think he won one in that time frame too. If I'm not mistaken, he won in 16.
Yeah, but so him, even with some of them losses, is still the man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because I still look at him as the best player in the league, even throughout some of them losses.
Yeah,
because I looked at a lot of Steph's wins during them championships, and I didn't look at him like he was the man in the finals, and that means something to me.
It does mean something.
He was the man during regular season, but to me, he just won't. He didn't show up in the finals to me like that ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I wouldn't say ever. There was some times where he did diminish, just like LeBron diminished a few times. LeBron diminished a few times in the finals.
But he won't carry the load Bron was carrying in the finals. Bron's people freeze when they get out there on the court with him during the finals, and it's just like Bron ain't got no choice but to carry the load. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his team just freezes. Like, them Warrior teams won't freeze, and Steph just won't showing up. Like, to me, you know what I'm saying? And that's part of why I just be like, I know his greatness, but I didn't see his greatness on the biggest scale all the time. You know what I'm saying? The biggest platform there is. I didn't ever see him just go out there and put on one of them all-time performances. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen,
but you can't tell me you can't tell me that Steph has never put on an all-time performance. He's had plenty. It's just has he had
in the finals?
Yeah, in the finals. He's had plenty. I'm gonna say plenty.
In the finals.
In either a win, you talking about 5 different times, soon to be 6. You can't tell me that he didn't show up not one time in best of 7 series 5 different times and put on a 40-point plus game and ball out.
Really once.
And took the game on the shoulder. Without looking to the stats and looking at game by game, I can tell you I've watched all the games. I know he has, just as LeBron has. But then I've also seen LeBron completely turn into a shell of himself. Completely. Finals against San Antonio. Where was he?
You make me want to go to the stats and pull Steph stuff, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he showed up once, maybe twice out of about 30 games, but I don't.
Once or twice out of 30-some games?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I just, my memories of him is being like more disappointed that he didn't do more in the finals. And don't get me wrong, man. He showed up. I know he showed up because I remember a few of them right off the top of my head being like, okay, he had some big games, but I don't know, man. Steph big games was like during blowout games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't remember.
But he's the guy who made it the blowout
game.
But he's the guy who made it a blowout. He's the guy who made it an uncompetitive game.
That's cool, you know, and maybe you know, because he had some games that were dominant and there was no pushback, that it makes it not memorable. You know what I mean? Like, because you got the Jordan moments where there was tension, and then there was a climax, and he came out on top of it.
Right.
You got that with LeBron also, even though most
you got that with LeBron
teammates. But I just don't. Steph didn't give me that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the moment your legacy is built on, is those moments that make you feel something. You know what I'm saying? Like, not you wash somebody and then you put 40 up in a washing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but if you're the reason they get washed,
they don't remember the Bulls versus the Sonics for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, the series wasn't. There was no tension. We remember him for the Suns, and we remember him for the Jazz. You know what I mean? We don't remember him.
With the Supersonics, the wash.
The Lakers, other than doing a fancy layup. We don't remember the Lakers series. You know what I mean? Like, because they was beating the hell out of them teams. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but we do give them credit for being the reason why.
Yeah.
The matchup was not competitive.
Yeah, I give KD credit for why some of them weren't competitive. Now I'm sounding like a Steph hater, but it is what it is.
We're gonna see what we gonna see what happens this year without a KD.
Yeah. But that's a lot of the reason why I say he's top 30 without a doubt, because they did it without. You know what I'm saying? Like, that means something to be able to go back and do it again when you ain't the same way they held it against Kobe and said Shaq took you there.
But the difference is he made it there before KD. He made it there without KD. He made it there with KD, and he made it again without KD again.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But I'll allow you to hold on your thoughts until you see how the finals play out this year.
You ready to give them top 5?
Not ready to give them top 5. I'm ready to make the argument.
I'm
not ready to give it to him
already.
I'm ready to make a case. Like, I can still be swayed right now. I can still be swayed. I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying, but I'm ready to step up and at least make a case. I feel like he's built a case for himself. Maybe not definitely top 5, but definitely maybe I can make a stronger case for top 10 for sure. Top 5 is gonna be hard.
So what's the argument for top 5? I mean, who you bringing out? Because I just named 3 centers that
I can't do that. I can't do that not without a discussion and not without argument. But what I can tell you is
who comes out from your argument.
It's not necessarily about who comes out, but what does he bring? If this is the top 5 club, and I say everybody bring me your credentials to see if you can get into this top 5 club, he's first in line. He's first in line to bring his credentials in his little folder and say 3-point record, 6 NBA finals. I've won 3 so far with a chance to win my number 4. I changed the game, my impact on culture, my impact on the way the game is being played. Like he has a packet, he has a case, he has credentials to at least knock on the door and say, "Hey,
consider me.
I might have a shot to get into this room of 5, and somebody might have to come out."
So when he brings you his packet, you say he can be first in line. He's first in line ahead of all current players in the league, is what you're saying?
Of all current players,
LeBron
not currently top 5. LeBron's already top 5.
Okay, he's solidified. Okay.
Yeah, so LeBron's top 5. But of all current players who are not top 5, he's number 1 in line. He's number 1 at the door. Who else?
Okay, you got LeBron solidified. I'm assuming you got Jordan solidified. Who else you got solidified in that 5? Kareem got to be in there.
It could be Kareem.
Kareem probably is better than Jordan. You know what I'm saying? But even though
it could be Kareem. You could say Kobe. Could say Magic or Bird. Like it's like Stephen A says, it's fluid. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't necessarily sat down and made my top 5 list, but there are definitely at least 3 people.
You ain't got to name me 5, but who is?
There's at least 3 that's solid. There's at least 3 that's solid. It's definitely Jordan. It's definitely LeBron, and definitely Kareem.
Okay.
Now the last 2,
they fluid.
So you could put Bird in there. You could put Magic in there. You could put Kobe. You could put Shaq. Who knows?
What about Russell?
You can put Russell, but then you can also make the argument: can Kobe come out for Steph?
Kobe's
maybe.
I don't have Kobe in a top 5. I don't have a top 5, but I don't see Kobe making it if I did. Put it that way. 10,
but I think
on the top 10, but I don't
go in 10.
I can't see him.
But I think 3 and 4, Steph Curry can come to the door and say, I can probably take, I mean not 3 and 4, but 4 and 5. I can probably take 4 and 5 slot. I can probably take one of those guys out based on my credentials.
I got a surprise for you though.
What's that?
I got Duncan in that top 10. But he goes in the second.
I'm not surprised.
He's closer to 10, but Duncan is top 10.
You can make the argument. You could definitely make that argument. So I'm not surprised by that at all.
And you never really hear me bring Duncan up as somebody that I'm complimenting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm not surprised. I mean, the man's a legend, man.
Positions on the floor, and he was the greatest of one of those 5. He needs to be top 10.
Top 10 at least, yeah. Best power forward of all time. You got to give him the nod.
Yeah, I just off the top of my head, if I had to guess, I would say 8 or 9 is where he falls into place, but I don't know. You know, I'd have to actually sit down and really look through some names and pull them off.
But depending on how Steph shows up in the finals and depending on the outcome, that's going to make that packet heavy packet. And he has the right to come to that room and say, hey, somebody got to get up. Somebody got to come see me.
This is what I will give Steph. If we want to talk top 5, I'm ready to have a conversation about Steph being top 5 point guard of all time. I'm ready for that.
You could do that.
He can
That'd be
have
easy.
that argument right now.
That'd be easy. Yeah, that's an easy case. That's an easy case.
I mean, there's some
That's an
great
easy
point
case.
guards. You know what I'm saying? And that's a very important position. But I can put him right there along Isaiah Thomas, and I'm gonna put Isaiah in that conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why I would definitely put Steph in that conversation, really close to a Magic Johnson. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you can arguably make him top 3, arguably.
Yeah,
but definitely he can come to that room with top 5 point guards. Yeah,
he can, because I got really off the top of my head, I got him, Jason Kidd, and Magic in that conversation in the top 3. Right off the top of my head, you know what I'm saying? I think those names deserve to be discussed.
Can you really put Kidd in there?
Yeah,
he's a solid point guard, but wins mean something.
I put him over Stockton.
And Stockton's never won.
You got Stockton as one? Greatest point guard?
I think he's never. No. I say no, never,
Oh,
never.
Yeah. No.
Only because he wore that Utah Jazz uniform.
Yeah. It messed everything up for him.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying he's never won. He's never got it. He's never gotten it done.
No, he didn't.
And that means something. He made it there. And granted, you ran up against Jordan when you made it there, but getting it done means something.
So you don't think Kidd's in the top 5 conversation? He got records too that he broke. He
do. But it might be tight for him. For me, it might be tight for him.
When name 3 that you put ahead of him. Since you're gonna tell me it's tight, let me see 3. Give me 3 names that
I mean, Isaiah, Stockton,
and
Steph.
Okay,
Isaiah, Stockton,
Steph, and Magic. Now name one more.
And Magic.
Yeah, that's 4. Name one more now. Now that we got all the names that I named off out the way, go ahead, name one more.
Give me a second. Kyrie. Not saying Kyrie is definitely top 5, but I'm just saying if you put Kyrie up against Jason Kidd,
I don't know that I'm ready to put
in a head-to-head.
I don't know if you put his numbers as a point guard next to Kidd's, I'm not ready to put Kyrie ahead of him. But who would I pick for my team? Probably Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? If we had a game, if I had to go draft somebody, I'd probably draft Kyrie. But
yeah,
as a point guard, I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready to put him ahead of Kidd.
Like who's a better facilitator? Oh yeah, of course, Jason Kidd's a way better facilitator. But who's the better player?
Yeah, I mean, if you building a team and you're looking for a star, you go with Kyrie first.
LeBron wouldn't have one of those chips if it wasn't for Kyrie.
He wouldn't. He's more exciting. He's everything. He's gonna pack the house, all that. Yeah, you go with Kyrie. But at the same time, you know, if I'm just looking at the point guard for what a point guard is. I mean, who's got more assists? Who's got more rebounds? Who was the better 3-ball shooter? Jason Kidd. He's probably only losing in scoring to Kyrie. Every other category, Jason Kidd's gonna win. He was.
Could you arguably say Chris Paul?
And he was.
He was, but we can't just go off walking triple doubles because then now you got to talk Harden and Westbrook.
Yeah,
and they don't come close. If you ask me,
but
they don't come close.
But look at
they don't even sniff the room.
They don't sniff the room, but they get their triple doubles in different ways. But still get them. They put up statistics, but this is in a time where they.
Yeah, well, I would say when Kidd got his triple doubles, it was in a time.
It was in the
where
he was not ball dominant.
Yeah, right. It was something to be said about his triple doubles. Yeah. Like those triple doubles were special.
They hit
these triple doubles that these guys get nowadays. They're not special. They're manufactured triple doubles.
Yes. So you know where I was. You knew where I was going to go with that anyway. You know, I set myself up for it because statistics are statistics at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the guys didn't play for stats back in the day. Like
like even when somebody talks about points, like total points, and LeBron passed this person on the list, and he's Michael Jordan's this number on the list, and LeBron, like the way points are nowadays is different. It's different.
Yeah. Interesting conversation, man. You know, I guess we could continue to drag it out if we jumped into it further. But
yeah, for sure.
We got to go ahead and get ready to wind this on down, man. My cigar done went out. You know, you got me into this. I done put it down and I forgot about it. You know.
Hey, look, we're gonna revisit this after this finals, man. I'm gonna bring it up again after the finals, and win or lose. If Steph lay an egg or not, or if he comes out heroic, I gotta revisit it.
We can revisit it. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, this is where I'm willing to talk for him. This is what I'm giving him now for this finals appearance. He's top 30 of all time, all players. If he wins, we can discuss him in the top 15 and where his place is within that list, because I will then concede to him belonging there. And he's already a top 5 point guard of all time. But where he goes, I don't know where to put him at.
Just yet.
And that's my stance on Steph. That's my adjustment to my stance on Steph from our earlier conversation this year.
Hey, I had to call you to the table, man. I had to call you to the table.
I'll admit it. I'll give it to him. You know what I'm saying? That it's the kid is he's special, man, and he's done a lot for the league, so he deserves his credit. You know, it's just I don't know, man. Like this decade is a muddy decade as far as who clear cut carries the crown. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
It's ever been. You know, so
I think after this season it probably will become more muddy as LeBron continues to age out, as Steph now ages out. Who's going to be the guy going forward?
Yeah.
You know, and I think after this season, like things are really going to be up for grabs. It's really going to be up for grabs.
Before we let go of this conversation, is it unclear because the talent is so even, or is it unclear because a lack of one great individual?
Well, I wouldn't say the lack of one great individual, because I think all the individuals, like
great.
We have a lot of a lot of great individuals,
more special than everybody else.
Than the others, right? And even in Michael Jordan's day, you still had great individuals. You still had Hakeem Olajuwon. You still had Shaq. You still had guys who were special.
Yeah, they came through a good season and would get MVP over Mike and stuff like that. I mean, it's the same thing, but it was still clear
who the guy was. Yeah. And I think over the last 10 years, you can look at 2 people or 3 people and say, okay, one might have it not over the other one, the one might have a notch over the other one, different year from here and there. But I think going forward from 2020 on, in the 2020s, who's really going to stick out? I mean, I think not necessarily because of talent, or lack of talent, or lack of somebody just being super extra special, but it's just the fact that the way the game is, for one, being played, and 2, who is willing just to step up above the rest. You still have great talent. You still have super special talent, but who's just gonna be that hero? Like, who's gonna have that heroism that's just gonna shine amongst the rest? Like, who? It just comes. It does come to that, I guess. So, long story short, going back to what you said, yeah, it's not talent, but who's willing to personify what it means to be the ultimate superstar. So I think that's what it is.
Mindset.
I think it's going to depend on mindset and the whole mystique of the individual. Not necessarily the talent of the individual, but the mystique of the individual. How are they going to impact the game? How are they going to impact the season? How are they going to impact a legacy? How are they going to impact their team? A fan base. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Do you see anybody out there that can fill that role and step out and be special?
Not right now.
Not great, but special. Right.
Not right now. Other than Giannis and what he did last year, and if he would have followed up and did it again this year, he might be able to follow up and do it again next year. But he has to do it next year in order for him to be that guy. He can't go 2, 3, 4 years. It can't be too many gaps in between. He has to do it now, like the next year, and then the year after that. It has to be consistent, coupled in consistency. He's probably the number one person to be able to have the opportunity right now.
Yeah, I think.
But it just has to be consistency. Other than that, I can't see anybody else.
Luka?
No. No, I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna just not that quick of a no. But I don't see it. But could he be? He has the potential. He has the potential. I'm even gonna say this, man, because I was hating on this guy early on. But Ja Morant.
I knew you were gonna say Morant. I knew you were gonna.
If Ja Morant takes Memphis and he puts Memphis on his back and he really does what he showed he's capable of this year, he could. But he has to do it, though. He can't. What Ja Morant has to be careful of is becoming a Harden, becoming a Westbrook.
I was gonna say an Iverson to become
an Iverson.
Because
an Iverson.
I say that based off the fact he's a small guy, he's explosive, and that style can lead to injuries. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't taking care of his body.
Yeah. But not even just the injury part, but just somebody who is super talented but can't take his team anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like Iverson, super talented, but just couldn't get his team over the hump. Harden,
I wouldn't say super talented.
I'm not. You hear me? You hear me hesitating on that? Westbrook, super athletic. So I would say Westbrook, super athletic. Talent is there, but it's superseded by his athleticism.
It's Russell's mindset. He has the hunger and that dog.
Yeah, and I see the hunger and
talent in the dog.
Yeah, and I see that in Ja Morant over this last series. I see that hunger and that dog in Ja Morant. So he has to be careful, like that, and that's why I named Harden, because Harden put up the numbers. You know, he was looked at as one of the greatest in the league in particular times. Westbrook the same. You know, putting on those triple doubles, super athletic, got dog in him. And then Iverson, you know, super talented, dog, could get his team there, but can't get him. Couldn't get him over the hump. And I see Ja Morant potentially being able to fall into that category if he's not careful. But if he does it right, and if he does champion his team, he can be the guy.
Okay, 3 possible names out there, man. We'll see what comes out over the next 2 or 3 years, I guess, man.
Be interesting to follow, man. Well, before I get my final words, I'm gonna say the leather got better. The leather did get better. I'm gonna take that leather that I got in the very beginning of my second third, into my first third. It's just an introduction, but then once that leather kind of followed up through the second third, it chilled out a little bit and handled it very well. Don Pepin Garcia, Series JJ, you are COVID-19 certified. Now, good cigar overall. Packaged very well. I enjoyed my smoke. It was a really good smoke. Not a standout smoke, but a good smoke. So if I had to give it a rating, and if my rating is any valid today, I'll give you a 3.8.
Okay, 3.8. All right, and for me with the Liga Provider T52, I did not give it a lot of attention. I kind of was focused more on the conversation. And that's simply because it's just a cigar everybody knows already, and we've talked about it before. So I took the time to not focus on the cigar and to just kind of focus on the conversation in the moment. So my rating is just kind of more off of not messing up the moment. it was a background to the moment for me. You know what I mean?
A Liga Privada is a background cigar. Y'all heard it here first.
Hey man, but
that's the headlines. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I
It's
know
not a background cigar.
it sounds like that's how people get like quoted on the headline. It's like I didn't mean it that way though. Like
it's a sound bite.
yeah, them sound bites get you because of stuff like that. But no, it was I smoked it. I was just smoking in conversation more so than smoking like, man, oh, what's up with this Liga? You know what I'm saying? Because I just felt like, the show, y'all all know. Anybody listening to this know about a Liga Privada, man. But anyway, my rating is, I'm going to just give it a 4.6. I'm going to say 6. I kind of wanted to say 7, but 6, 4.6.
You had to pay attention to it a little bit more to be able to give it a 7.
Yeah. I just need to pay a little more attention to it. But it was all just enjoyable, man. You know what I'm saying? I was able to do what I did and not have to worry about being distracted. Like, oh, what's that jumped out? Or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You know what? Like you said, it's like it's that Maybach truck. Sometimes I've never driven one before, but I can imagine you drive luxury. Sometimes you forget that you get so comfortable with the situation that you cruising. You was cruising. That's all it was,
man. I
was cruising
behind the wheel. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. And I wasn't focused on the drive. It was driving the car for me. I was sitting in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? With my glasses.
Yeah, that's all. So, that's it.
That's all it was, man. But very enjoyable, man. The fact that I could do that. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
Like I said, I noticed leather throughout the smoke, and it didn't do nothing to harm it. It was just an enjoyable smoke, man. I didn't get too far into it. I might have just got close to the halfway mark before I put it down and started talking and running my mouth. So, but yeah, man, it's a great cigar, man. It always has been.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. But yeah, man. So, Liga Privada, Don Pepin, Garcia. Those are the smokes for episode 25, man.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate you tuning in to this week's episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. We'll see you next week. Cigars up.
Cigars up.